Big Brother M. The show's called On the Square, and we about to start in literally 30 seconds. So I hit live so y'all can tune in. Hopefully y'all get involved.
Welcome to On the Square. I'm your host, Michael Coffey. I'm the dispatcher of information, and all information that you receive on this show should be researched or fact-checked. Now, I try to fact-check as much as possible, but I'm covering a lot of information and don't have the time to double-check and triple-check the way that I like to do with my information. We do have a host in the, he is a host and a guest at the same time in the studio, and I'm gonna let him shout out his information and his name, and then I'll get right back to the introduction.
Good evening. Good evening.
I know you're so used to early shows.
Yeah. But you know what? I still would say good evening, even with the time slot and all. But
Okay.
I guess what got me going a little crazy is to start it off. I'm Deli. I am the creator of Hopeline TV and Talk Art for TV, which is Thursday, same day as Big Brother M's show on the Square, but Hopeline is at 6 p.m. and Talk of Hartford is at 7 p.m. Hopeline's a live show, Talk of Hartford's tape. Not only am I the creator, I'm 1/3 of the crew. Hoff and Juice also do Hopeline and Talk of Hartford with me, and they couldn't be here today, but I'm here representing the crew as well. I'm sure all of you who tune in to Big Brother M show recognize me from somewhere. We did a few shows together, him on mine on his, so
Right.
it's good to be in the building, and I'm gonna toss it back to him later on. I'll drop some announcements just to get him out there, but I'm gonna let him do his thing first.
Now, the topic of the show, I'm always gonna cover a lot of stuff real fast, but the topic of the show is we want to touch. We have toward the ending of this year, a bunch of holidays. I had forgot to mention to you, the Halloween that just went past, and then Thanksgiving is around the corner, and then we have this Christmas thing that's going on towards, the 25th of this year in December. That's one aspect of the show. The other one is we'll talk a little bit about Byron Allen. Byron Allen is in court, and he's trying to sue two cable companies, Charter and Comcast, for the lack of contracts to minority-owned companies and services like accountants, lawyers, producers of movies, TV shows, and all that kind of stuff. He's using the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which is in those documents of allowing minorities to have the right to contribute to a business through the contracts. And I don't want to use the D word, but I'm going to use it as diversity. And to a lot of people, especially the non-melanin people, diversity is a evil word. Is actually in their mind white genocide, and that's not the way you should view it. Everybody is not going to be dating white people, and every black person is going to date vice versa. So there's never going to be right now in the next 100 years, there's never going to be a browning of this country. Now, through immigration, that might happen, but not the two groups getting together to turn everybody brown. That's a scare tactic. There's enough black people that want to be with their tribe. There's enough white people that want to be with their tribes, and the ones that want to cross over, they want to cross over, But it's not gonna change the skin tone of this nation. Let me say that again. This corporation. that happens to be a non-traditional empire. So United States, or what I call United Snakes of amnesia, because they want to forget about all the bad stuff, but always want to talk about the good stuff and the make-believe stuff. That's what United States make the most, the make-believe stuff. You know, you got to understand what this country exports out to the world. Racism, music, weapons, surgical product, and make-believe stuff. That's what exports out of the United States. And some grain. Let me not forget some grains. And that's about it. You know, United States is more into taking than giving. So, so I hope I got the topics. We have Byron Allen, and we have the holidays, and did I miss one? The black people's movements. So we're talking about any group. You know, let's talk about probably one of the most famous ones, the Black Panther Party. Let's give you an example of black movements in terms of fighting oppression. And we may touch on it, or we might run out of time on that particular topic. We want to kind of focus on Byron Allen. We kind of want to focus on the holidays and a few things. We're not going to spend any time on Emperor 45 and the impeachment hearings and all that kind of stuff. I think is a distraction, a waste of time. Even if we get out of there, you have two evil men behind him to replace him. So is one Darth Vader, and then you have Darth Maul after him. So it's just, this thing doesn't make any sense. But the name of this show is Welcome to On the Square. I want to welcome to On the Square, and I want to give a shout out to I'm not going to say any names, but I'm just saying general. I'm going to shout out to the people with Hotep, with Jambo, with Rahu Bak, with Shalom. I try to use these different terms to let you know it's everybody with melanin dominated genes that I'm trying to address. I want to give a shout outs to the Moore Science Temple. I want to give a shout out to the Rastafarian culture. I want to give a shout out to the Prince Hall Masons. I want to give a shout out to the Nation of Islam. I want to give a shout out to the Nubian Nation. I also want to give some groups that is less cultural but more political. Free Alabama movement, which is dealing with labor, prison labor. So inmates that's doing below minimum wage labor in the prison system. So the Free Alabama movement is fighting against the Justice League in New York City, and if they have other chapters in the United States, I'm not aware of it, but you have the Justice League in New York. I have the New Era Nation, which have 7 chapters. Ohio, I guess it's Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, D.C. are some of the locations. The Black Land Initiative, which is out of Oakland, California, is dealing with getting property for our people, buying property, even though we need lands also. The Poor People Campaign, and it's .org is the location. If you go to that website and you put in your state, so you put in, Connecticut, the representative in Connecticut, his name, because I know it's a guy for the state, will pop up. Or any state that you're in, when you put poorpeoplecampaign.org, the person that's the head person of that group in that particular state, when you put the state in, their name pops up, and then you can contact them to find out what that movement's going. Now, the reason I bring up these organizations to let black people or oppressed people know all across the state of Connecticut and the world that there are people fighting and trying to make a difference. I know when you look outside, look at the condition, you look at the news, you look on the internet, and you're saying everything's going to blank. So I just want you to know that there's people, Delhi's out here doing his thing, I'm out here doing my thing, and everybody that we're aware of are trying to do their part to try to contribute. And that's why I brought up the black people's movement in terms of we got to stop fighting each other. We got to stop trying to be the man or the woman. Just be based on principles. We have to be part of a group, and that group is to help alleviate some of this pressure, stress, and trying to have us a more productive, healthier group of people. I know we're under siege. You know, it's an emergency situation. A lot of us is dying left and right. So we gotta address all these problems, and we're gonna top from the most serious to the pettiest ones. You know, so if you want to dye your hair blonde, that's a petty problem. The top 10 killers of Americans in the United States, 8 of them out of the 10 is black people are number 1. So we're talking about cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, cirrhosis of the liver, HIV, stroke. So it's suicide, homicide. So it's 10 of them. 8 out of the 10, we're number 1. We're dying. We're the number 1 people dying. So if you want to wear tattoos and a ring in your nose and blonde hair, I don't care. I'm caring about people living and surviving past barely making it, but being financially, you know what I'm saying, Deli? Being financially secure. So all the little side issues that people are having and all that little hateration stuff, those are petty. You know, you deal with that later. You put that on the shelf. We're dying out here, and we're getting shot out here, and we're unemployed out here. And those are the issues me and Deli is worried about. Not that, you know, who you dating, who you beefing with, what color you're wearing. You see that I have a tape on me because this sweaty has a brand name on it. I don't want to give any free advertisement when I can to these corporations that don't want to pay you the amount of money that what you really worth. You think Michael Jordan, even though Michael Jordan is making a ton of money on that company with the Greek symbol, but they're not really paying him for what he's making off of his celebrity and his basketball skills that he did in the past. He's not making what he really is supposed to be making. So every time you're looking around, somebody's wearing Gucci and Guess and Prada and anything Calvin Klein, anything you want to think, Rolex. You know, we just flossing, and somebody's getting rich, but it ain't us. So let me get back on track to. I'm gonna start a little bit on, and I also want to. If we have time, I want to make some announcement too, some short announcement too. But I want to get back to the Black Power movement. But there's other kind of movements too. There's civil rights movements, and there's all kind of movements, but it's all pertaining to melanin-dominated people. And so what I'm seeing with these movements, and this is my assessments, my personal assessment of them, is we're fighting among ourselves. You have all these groups that's trying to make a difference, and maybe some of them not, but the majority are trying to make it different, but they're fighting at the same time. So on the Black Power, I shouldn't say the Black Power, the not the mainstream black groups. That's the metaphysical groups. So we're talking about people that's dealing with some heavy duty spirituality. That's one part of the fight. So you need your spirituality during a fight. The other group is Black Power or Black nationalism or Pan-Africanness. You can lump them all together. They're not the same, but they're similar. And then you have the economic, the Black capitalism. So everything, all the problems going to be solved by making money. So you have this one group that's all about money. You have this one group that is cultural, a little bit politics, and self-defense, the Black Power movement. And then you have the metaphysical, and you can jump in if you feel like on this. So we have a metaphysical group, which is spiritual. You have the economic group, and then you have the Black Power group. So there's more groups than that, but this is the three major ones that is getting a lot of attention, and they're fighting among themselves, and mostly on the internet. And I don't know if it has spilled out on the street as of yet, but it's definitely out on the internet. And we need to have a fusion politics. We need to come together. And I'm not going to use unity because it has gone past unity. We got to be together for real. I'm talking about tribalism, and because we're going to be last or extinct, depending on how much fight we have left. So we're going to be the last ethnic group, and I know that the people in college don't like to call blacks an ethnic group, but I'm just going to call the last group out of all the different groups, the hierarchy on the pyramid. We're going to be the last one, and that means everybody's going to pile on us, and we're going to be the out group. So anytime there's a problem, and this is all through human history, when there's a problem, you point your finger to the out group. Remember that. You point your finger to the out group so you can blame all the problems on the out group. And when you blame all the problems on the out group, the next solution is elimination. Black people got to learn their history and understand that we're in a bad predicament. I don't know how we're going to change it around because I don't want to put out too much solutions. Everybody want to put out solutions, and we're still fighting. So we have all these solutions while we still fighting. So, but we need to be prepared, and we need to study. And I want my brother Deli to jump in a little bit and what he heard from what I'm saying, and he can give some of his point views on it.
So first and foremost, this topic is out of the three that we listed. It's the least on my list. So the information that Big Brother M's putting out is very, very sensitive and is very, very informative. So you definitely want to take note, as I am mentally, obviously not physically, but mentally. Before I get into that, only because I was trying to get the announcement out before this phone dies. Don't get an iPhone if you can save your life for it. I just want to put out that my sister has became APRN recently. Shout out to you, Tanya. Love you. And she was tuned in up until a while ago. And I want to say that her business is called Hope Life Behavioral and Wellness Services. Tanya her credentials is MSN, RN, PMH, NP-BC. She is the owner of Psychiatric Nurse Practitioner. I'm not going to put the number out, but I will give you the to the Instagram page, which is at Hope Life, HOPELIFE _LLC. Once again, at Hope Life, HOPELIFE _LLC. It is a caring health center. And for more info, look up the page. You will definitely find everything you need, but there is a website. It is hopelifebehavioral.com. Once again, website is hopelifebehavioral.com. I'll make a post separate from that on my page just to have you guys look at it, because I know a few of you was waiting for me to announce it. Should have did it earlier, sorry. And shout out to her, because there is not enough black
medical professional
women, let alone people out there. And to reach that caliber as an APRN,
right,
doing your own thing, she could be, for people who kind of don't know what an APRN is, An APRN can, once again, see you just like a doctor can, a PA. They can prescribe to you. They can assess you. They kind of also act almost like a psychiatrist as well in that definitive role. But more importantly, they can seek out cures or aids to help you with your ailment and to improve your health as a whole. They're very important within this society at this point in time. It's a great job to have, and
Right.
trust me, you will rarely find an APRN who does their job and does not care about the likelihood of human beings. Period. And what's better than somebody of your own looking after you, taking care of you, and making sure that you live a prosperous, long life? If I could, I would be a patient of hers as well. So you definitely want to check her out. Go ahead.
So I was going to add on to what he was saying. What he was talking about, and you said it was your sister, right?
Yes.
Your sister.
Tanya King.
This is way past an advertisement. I'll just want to enlighten the audience a little bit. You go into a hospital, whether it's your insurance and your doctors might recommend this hospital, or because you've been dealing with this hospital all your life and you're going to this particular hospital. But we know that people are catching infections in the hospital, and we know people are dying in the hospital. What is needed, and we just said earlier, the 10 main killers in the United States, from HIV, cancer, and cirrhosis of the liver, and all that kind of stuff, 10 of them, 8 out of the 10 is black people are number one on the list. We're dying like flies. So what you want to do besides changing your what you eat, exercising, and your environment is to have a private nurse that attends any hospitalization situation. So say you got a ulcer in your stomach, and they're gonna do something that's gonna go inside your internal organs. You will want somebody like his sister to be there to monitor what's going on, and when they leave the room, she can tell you what's going on. She can tell them, I don't want this, I don't want this, I want this, XYZ. Because you don't have, it's not like a lawyer. A lawyer goes to your trial and try to advise you. But when you're going to a hospital, there's no real advice they could give you, because they know what they're going to do. We're going to operate. They might say you have options. You don't have options. They really want to operate on you, because that's beneficial to them. That's what they've been trained to do, and they're going to make money off of that. But by having a private nurse telling you, look, brother, look, sister, here's some of my research to say, hey, here's some other options. That's what we need.
Correct. So that is a little bit about what she is looking at, or what is she doing right now. The other thing I want to add is, now that I'm off live, I can actually pull up the information. So the business that I listed, Caring Health Center, is located at 1049 Main Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. I know a lot of people questioned me and said, why Mass? But that's where she chose to go. And I don't have a definitive answer if you can see her, but as long as if you can see her going across state lines. But I will get all that information. But even better, she does have numbers where you could call her and you can be assessed. And that number is 413-739-1100. Her extension is 2211. Once again, her name is LaTanya King, and she is an APRN. And if you call that number 413-739-1100, you will get her. Also, she has an email, L King, that's L King at caringhealth.org. Also, www.caringhealth.org is the website once again. So please support your own. She has went to school. She's worked blood, sweat, and tears very hard to get where she is now. And not only that, she cares about not only the community, but our community. I have to stress that, our community, because not a lot of people do. There's plenty of people in the medical professional field, and trust me, where I work, I can definitely attest to this, that do their job for all the wrong reasons. They talk about their patients, they disrespect their patients, they break HIPAA law on a regular, and whether they're aware of it or don't care, they are not the type of people you want to see. And the people I'm speaking on do not look like us. I don't care if this actually reaches their ears, because the truth is the truth, and I would love to look out for people's well-being than just sending you to somebody so your insurance can get a check, they can get a check, and at the end of the day you feel like nothing happened to you. Because I've been in that situation too with a clinician or whoever you want to call it, and I really left that office thinking, how in the world did they make it to this point? And why are you still seeing patients? So it's very important. She's professional, and I'm not just saying this because we're related. She's professional. She's always cared about people. Remember, she's hardworking, she's Jamaican, and not only that, if you don't leave her office feeling more relieved and with a smile, I'll give you $100 right now. Maybe not, but still. I wanted to put that out. But we definitely, that's enough for that part. We're going to get back into these topics because we definitely have a lot of info. So hit it.
So I actually passed it on to you about the black movements. So we're talking about different ideology and different groups. And even though I mentioned like the Black Panther Party, which at one time had 22 different programs, as well as the breakfast program, the sickle cell health clinics, and things of that nature. But there's other groups too. It's just that Black Panther Party, a lot of people know it off the top of their head. I'm not too much of a big fan of the civil rights groups like Urban League and those things. They have their advantage or benefits, but overall, I think anytime a group is solely funded by outsiders, they cannot be as effective as being funded by us and the positions filled by us. So just understand that when it's just like you work for a company, you can't make the decision for the company, you work for them. You know what I'm saying? So the Urban League is funded, and the NAACP and other groups, CORE and all that stuff is funded by other people. You know, we contribute a little bit. I don't know what the percentage is, but I would say a little bit. So if you go back to the beginning of the NAACP and their charter, they might have changed it now, but back at the beginning, they said that these group of black people can't, based on the charter, own any land. I'm like, what group that's trying to empower their people can't own any land? So they obviously constructed this thing to be minimum in its ability to benefit us. They, don't get me wrong, they have done some good work in the past, getting some people from not going in jail. Their Crisis magazine is a very good publication, and their Legal and Education Defense Fund is a very good program. But I'm just anti that group. And if you go back a little bit further, they had a thing called the Niagara Movement, where it was a bunch of brothers that was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they looked like they was gonna get busy. You know, some Hannibal Shaka Zulu, you know, type of stuff, Queen Canada's, and people like that. They even the Haitians, 1801. These brothers looked like they was gonna get busy, and you had a bunch of white people that came and said, "Hey, we want to help you." Boop. So you went from getting busy to minimum support. So that's the origin of that group. So that's why I don't really want to talk too much more about those groups like that. They have contributed a little, and they saved a lot of lives, but we're past that. We're at a point. I hate to sound like Jay-Z. We're at the point where we got to really do stuff and make a change. So bringing it back to Delhi. So any group that he want to think about, to talk about, he can, you know, expand on that.
I will, because we have 25 minutes to a T, I will just list that a group that I would say relates to this topic. Some people might listen. I really don't want to state the obvious, Black Lives Matter, or, you know, you took it back and listed the Black Panthers movement. I want to bring up a group that actually I've had my eye on. It's actually in the area. You know, before I even do them, even better. So a couple years ago, me, Hoff, my co-host, and a group of well-educated young black men, we all got together and we protested in front of Hartford PD, which is located on High Street. We don't have a title for the group, but since that day, we've gotten together and we still, you know, communicate with each other. And if I had to list the name of the group, I would just say, for, you know, hee-hees, ha-has, let's just say the Talk of Hartford movement. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say this is because not only did we protest, the chief of police came out, we had a conversation. He listed and said things that, you know, obviously in his best interest and his people's best interest, and when I say people, I mean police. Well, what do you think we could change, and this, that, and the third? We gave him a list, and we went to the community. We went to community meetings, which is called Know Thy Neighbor. Know Thy Neighbor, I can actually list as one of these groups. They're not a fully black group. There's people of all different races, Spanish, white, black. But the reason why I feel like they're a commendable group and they relate to the topic is because these meetings occur dead in the middle of the North End. I mean, smack dab. I believe it's off of Garden Street. Can't exactly pinpoint. But they usually meet in the same spot around the same time, and it's a couple times a month. And there are also members of Hartford PD that are in the meeting. And I've attended several meetings along with Hall. And not only do we ask questions, we show them results. We give them proof that this is harassment. There are certain events that's happened where we proved it, and some of them have been corrected. I'm talking about where they're bored and they come on your street and they'll read random plates. They're starting to do that more often now. If you look around, you'll see a lot of cars without back plates parked on streets. And that's also one thing that Luke Browning has started under his administration, along with upping up the parking ticket prices, and after 3 tickets, your license or registration is suspended or whatnot. A lot of people still don't know that, and they're racking up tickets as we speak. You know, so we gave them examples, and some of the officers that were actually a part of the harassment crew, you know, were in the building. So of course it was a lot of, let me, be on the defensive because I already know I'm doing wrong. But we as a group, I felt like we made leeway because certain people, obviously I don't feel like they were reprimanded the way they should have been, but things were brought into light. And you can't shove the truth when you have proof under a rug like a lot of police stations do all across America. You get what I mean? So we actually try to take care of our communities, and we're young at that. We're not, 55 or 80 or nothing like that. No, it shows that we're young black men and women, young Latino men and women, young whatever, and we're in our communities. We cleaning up, we doing what we gotta do, and we check up on our people. If there's kids outside, we looking out for them kids because some people got jobs, and we doing what we gotta do because there's too many black girls and black boys missing, going missing, getting murdered, all types of stuff.
Right.
So that's why I listed Know Thy Neighbor as a movement because it's only growing and they're in the
and it was good that you brought it up because it's local. I was talking about national and international groups. No, don't even. No, I'm saying I'm good with that you gave a. Okay. I didn't give a local one.
All right.
Even though NAACP have local chapters everywhere in the United States, but we're not the big fans of that group. I've invited the Harvard Police on this show, and other shows have got them on the show. I don't know why they haven't been on my show, but I'm not a big fan. But if I can help them kind of behave a little bit better towards the citizens of this great city, then I will contribute that. And this thing about look at what the Republicans or the conservatives are attacking unions all over United States and dismantling them and making them irrelevant. But the police union is going strong. And that's the union that fight to save a police that shoots an unarmed person that meant no harm. The Eric Gardners, the Walter Scotts, and the list go on and on, and the females, I shouldn't even call them female, but the women that's being mishandled. I just seen one on the internet where this guy threw her against the car. I'm talking about the stuff that you see in Marvel movies. She left the ground. Boom! How do you throw a woman against a car? And you have a gun, and you have a taser, and you have a mace, and you have a stick, and you have hand-to-hand combat training.
We got 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to get into the next topic.
All right, so again, I want to move on because time is limited, and it seems like we always have all the time in the world, but once we get into it, it just flies. Byron Allen is a brother you should look up on the internet, look on the news, whatever source that you can go to and see how his trial is progressing. He's a black man that is trying to sue Comcast, Charter Communication. These are all cable companies, and I think he even tried to sue Al Sharpton. Don't quote me on that, but I'm just going off of memory on that particular one. And he's using the civil rights of 1866 to prove his situation, as there's been some discrimination among these big companies that do not want to contract business to minority, because that's the language they use, minority companies. So you're talking about whether you're producing and directing movies and TV shows, whether you're accountant or a lawyer, agent, and all those kind of individuals in that field. And so they're just doing a minimum amount of giving any positions. I shouldn't even say giving, but allowing opportunities for these minority groups, their language, to benefit in a $70 billion industry. $70 billion industry, and I don't even think 3% is minority. I think it's in fractions. So if you know your percentage, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So also, Comcast has did the switch and bait tactics, because they are part of the Harriet Tubman movie, which they helped fund it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at, okay, you're being attacked by Byron Allen saying that you're not giving minorities any opportunities, but you help fund this black movie, one of the greatest freedom fighter in contemporary time. I didn't say ancient times, but in contemporary time. Why would you fund that money if you're not trying to take some of the heat off of you? Two, they have a show called Revolt. There's a network. It's a Revolt. The purpose of Revolt is to say this is a minority owned or run company.
Right.
So you have three people that's running them, and one of them is not a minority. He's a white man. The other one is an Indian lady that fired 30% of the people that used to work on that on that network before she came. And that 30% was over, the majority of them was black. And she's an East Indian woman. And then you have P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, whatever he calls himself, as part of this triad, running this company. So you're trying to act like you're trying to give back or give opportunity, but it's all a switch and bait, type of hoodwink type of thing. And you want to jump in on Revolt or
nah.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't wanna touch on Revolt, Diddy, or I understand the examples, but
Okay.
I wanna just kinda stick with Byron, because Diddy, Jay-Z, Revolt, I feel like they get enough publicity and exposure as
Okay.
it is. And I definitely understand the fact that they do need to be exposed the way you letting it known, because everybody's so hung up on what they worth and what they did or whatnot, but they don't focus on the initiative they trying to pass through with a lot of things.
With a lot of
they
things.
just go by, oh, that's my favorite rapper, and
Mhm.
he black, he a Billy, and I rock Sean, I rock the Carters, S-Dot. That's cool and all, but as they put their hands deeper in the pot,
look at the damage.
right?
Look at the damage, not the fluff.
You can't keep ignoring that, especially when now it can actually affect you one day,
Right.
But with Byron, for those of you who don't know, because before Big Brother M hit me up, he gave me the list of topics, and I will admit I didn't know too much about him. The funny part is I did read up on his case, because I get news alerts and whatnot, but it was one of those where you look at it, skim it, move on. So I actually had a chance to look him up as, we was prepping for the show. And for those of you who I know don't know him, I'm just going to give a little on him. So who is Byron Allen? Real quick, he's an American businessman, former comedian, TV producer, philanthropist, and a founder, owner, chairman, and chief executive officer of U.S. TV production company, entertainment studios. We don't really care who he's married to and whatnot. Byron, the case that is in question right now is Byron Allen versus Comcast.
Right.
Supreme Court hears arguments on racial discrimination case and decides to pass it on, meaning they're going to continue on with the case. It's been heard, now they can proceed. Obviously, that's good news for him. It is a $20 billion lawsuit. It's very important we list that, because he ain't going to
For
war
chump
with
change.
them for no chump change. Yeah, we know the type of man he is. And he's definitely using the race card as a big factor for the argument. So me and you was talking a little bit back there, and we was talking about other people, individuals. One of them was what's this dude name? Dude from the West Coast,
Dr. Dre.
Yeah, and we was talking about the college thing and whatnot. Gave you my thoughts on this, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on that. You said something back there, you know what I mean, that kind of definitely it resonated with me as far as, you know, clearly it's not clear that if he's really being genuine with using the race card. He's clearly using it to beef up his case.
Right.
In order to, because let's be real, in the past they might have not have looked at, you know, these racial discrimination cases or whatnot as they do now, but a lot has changed since back then to now. You know, people are starting to win certain cases by using race because they know it's a sensitive topic. Americans are very sensitive right now. You get what I mean? Well, 3 big topics in America to be sensitive about: race, homosexuality, and
probably women issues.
And women. And I'll add a 4th, firearms, because NRA, big topic these days, especially with today, but that's a whole nother day. But yeah, all I'm gonna say on him is I'm going to keep diving into who this man really is and try to get into his mind to see what he's really about, because clearly he's making a power play. If he wins this, who knows? Like, one thing you will say, and I'm gonna let you elaborate on that. You said if by winning this case, this would open doors up for a lot of other black individuals, businessmen, you know, to be able to do their thing and, you know, go after it. So it's very interesting. So, you know,
but if he lose, they're going to try to dismantle that Civil Rights Act of 1866 or water it down, make it, you know, useless. And so you exposed one of the last cards that we have. You talked about race cards. This last cards that we can use against this empire, this non-traditional empire, against the establishment, against the elite, whatever label you want to use, this corporation. So if you lose, they're going to make sure that nobody come after you to use it again. So please be sincere about why you're using it versus line your pockets. So if you're lining your pocket and you're already rich and you lose, so what? Because you're already rich.
Right.
But if you're doing it for our people, then I support you, because it's needed to happen. But we need to support this brother so this law don't get dismantled and he can use it effectively to win this case. And the side effect is he's going to be richer. But on the positive cure or solution part of it is that more people can use that defense. I also left out that Comcast and Charter and that group of corporations, they have used the Urban League and Al Sharpton to show us that they like black people. So remember I said earlier, we talked about the Black Panther Party and other groups that's trying to make a difference. And we talked about we kind of so-so on the Urban League and the NAACP. Now, they both have done, they're like 90-year-old plus agencies. So you have a long history to say that you have done something. But if me and Brother Deli was doing something for 90 years, I think I have more showing than these two groups have to show for 90 years plus. So Comcast was smart enough to get these individuals and say, we're showing you that we're trying to have outreach for black people. And I got hired on some of the biggest corporations. I've been hired by American Airlines from Travelers, you know what I'm saying? KVS Information Systems, all kind of big corporations. But I did try to get a job at Urban League, and they looked at me like,
crazy.
Like I was crazy. Like,
man.
like you need to cross little kids across the street. You're not qualified for the Urban League. So I'm like, if I can't get in the Urban League, you saying that you're out there to try to help oppress people, I don't got no love. So call it bias if you want. I call it evidence. You might call it bias. I call it evidence. Come on now, I seen some of the people walk out of there. I don't believe they're smarter than me.
Right.
Or I can't do the job, or I can't do the job they do. And so I don't know, and I know I'm pro-black, unapologetic black. So I know that's going to be a problem, you know. In that situation, you got to take your orders and be quiet. Or what the lady at Fox News say, shut up and dribble.
I guess. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, you have any announcements you want to do, or you did all of them?
So I did the biggest one, which was my sister. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
And say your websites or anything like that.
Okay. So the YouTube channel, subscribe, Hopeline TV. The other one's Talk Hartford TV. You can find us on IG at Hopeline TV, at Talk Hartford, just Talk Hartford. Those are it for that. The only thing I will say, the topic we didn't get to was Thanksgiving.
We did.
Oh, we did?
No, I'm saying yes, we didn't get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I just want to put it out there. For a lot of you, especially y'all black folks, you know what I mean? Y'all think of Thanksgiving as, I call it the triple F. A day for feasting, football, and family.
Yeah.
Triple F.
Yeah.
So, but let me give you a little homework. Yeah, I could call it homework because I want you to dive deeper in it after I say this. This is just a little fact, and it is fact. There is no, I don't care what your history book said or didn't say. But the fact is, around 1637, a Massachusetts colony held by Governor John Winthrop declared a day to give thanks for the fact that colonial soldiers had recently slaughtered over 700 members of the Pequot tribe, including women and children, in Connecticut. Let me add that.
In New London area.
Yes.
Yeah.
So please keep that in mind when you're going around the table being thankful, because I always remember them saying, "Oh, what you thankful for?" And then when I read this as a child, I was like, "What are we doing this for?" But go ahead.
But I want to add on to that again. When you're going back to that section of coast of Mass, when the Puritans came, which the history books want to call it Pilgrims. I don't know if they call themselves Pilgrims, because you got to understand overstand where whether you believe blacks were brought over from Africa here, or Africans blacks were already here, whether you believe which one or a combination of both, they when the Europeans called them Africans, they looked around. That's like me calling Delhi Mark. He gonna look around because his name is Delhi. So when they called them Africans, they looked around. So what was their name? And I'm trying to show you an example. They called these people Pilgrims, and they would have looked around because they knew they were Puritans, you know. And when they got there, they set up a trading agreement with the Wampanoag Indians. The Wampanoag Indians was to bring them furs from the beavers, and the Europeans, you know what the European gives, things like mirrors, feathers, things that you can't use. And when they almost annihilate the beaver population of New England, they didn't really have anything at that particular moment to offer the Europeans to trade with. And what did the Europeans did after that? There's nothing to trade with. They started slaughtering the Wampanoag Indians.
Yes.
This is again. So he talked about another tribe, the Pequots, and I'm talking about another tribe called the Wampanoag.
So it wasn't just one tribe.
Right.
They slaughtered numerous Native Americans. So Thanksgiving has been a big, I don't want to say big issue, but it's been a topic that's kind of been shoved under the...
Was misleading.
Misleading. It is misleading. People feel like, that food, that good, that greens, beans, potatoes, natives from Mexico, whatever song that is. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. My Thanksgiving for my family happens every other year. And it's lit as far as food goes. We bring the liquor out, we bring the mac out, the turkey out. I don't do pork, and neither do they, so we don't really deal with that. But I'm telling you, everything that's lit is lit. I only wish we could add coquito. Shout out to Steph. She out there. If you hear me, make that coquito for me. You feel me, bestie? But anyway, bottom line is, I'm going to tell you right now, that's all good and fun. But what I'm saying is this. Do not forget the origin of this day. Numerous people were slaughtered, and they called it a holiday.
Right.
And
there was giving thanks for the slaughter and the origins for this part of the world, because some scholars want to say that this format, not the slaughtering, but the harvest,
right,
came out of the, I don't want to call it Israel, but I have no other choice but to call it Israel. So if you go back, so now we're going back to ancient history, that the what's a good term for them? I guess Jews. The Jews or the Israelites had this harvest, and they're trying to say from their religious belief that they brought some of that harvest celebration to the new world,
right,
or the world that they just found out. I don't know if you want to call it new.
So, i.e., see Christopher Columbus, another fraud in history.
Yeah.
But I will say this, because we are short on time. The simple fact is, just remember, I'm not discouraging you from getting together and celebrating Thanksgiving. I'd be a hypocrite if I was to tell you, listen, don't do Thanksgiving, because, thousands upon thousands of Native Americans were slaughtered. The Pequot tribe, and which tribe you said?
Wampanoag.
The Wampanoag tribe. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is teach your kids, remember the history for yourself as well, that in this country, we turned yet another bloody massacred day into a holiday. What's the definition of a holiday? My personal definition is a day of joyous joyous celebrations, a day you give thanks, or a remembrance day. It's supposed to be a peaceful day. But the point is, that is not a day that you should ever call a holiday.
What it should be called a holy day.
Exactly.
But when you commercialize it to make money, to buy to sell turkey and candies, and
you monopolize it like hell.
It become commercialized.
What in the world?
Oh,
I guess that's
a warning that
that's our cue. Yeah. Yo,
so peace.
Tune in 2 weeks. Peace. Say your piece, man. Go ahead.
I'm saying hotep to our listening audience.
And this is Deli, Hopeline TV, Talk Over TV. If you wonder about the ski man, it's because I ain't trying to be wiped out for exposing the truth at Thanksgiving on live. You feel me? But just know, I'm gonna be eating good, but I know the truth. Shout out to the native tribes, and that coquito better be ready. Have a good night, man. You feel me?
This is a first for me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We blew it up.
Yeah, man.
And fire.
Fire like a yah.